All right, and we're back. And we got Bitcoin over $28,000, just under $28,000, $27,957. I would say Bitcoin is doing pretty well. I do want to talk about another token that is doing pretty well. It's this token over here. It's had a 172% increase since its low in October. And that is, well, it's not really a token. It's Nvidia. It's the stock of Nvidia. And the reason why I want to talk about the stock of Nvidia is because I want to talk about AI. And I want to talk about the crypto hype in AI. Because as the thumbnail over there says, it does feel like there's this big crypto hype, this big AI hype that's going on, and it's spilling into crypto. But how many of these tokens are actually going to survive? Because a lot of it's just hype, and a lot of these AI tokens won't actually go anywhere. But there are two that I really think are going to survive. I'm going to show you today why they're not only going to survive, but they may actually explode. Then I also want to talk about the debt ceiling, because we have touched on it yesterday. The vote is happening on Wednesday, and I want to show you what happened the last time that we had the vote. That's what happened. That was the drop that the market puked. The market puked 17% just after the agreement. So we're going to talk about whether we're going to get a repeat of that here again today. So we've got a big show here today. I'm also going to talk to you about blockchain usage, and I'm going to show you that blockchain usage now is bigger than blockchain usage has actually ever been, even though we are in the midst of what you want to call maybe coming out of a bear market. So going to be a big show today. If you're new to our channel, welcome. Subscribe to our channel. If you've been here before, just smash the like button. I see we've got 213 likes, which is more than we had yesterday at this time, but not enough to keep going. And remember, we just do this for the likes and the appreciation. So listen, big show today. Let's go. All right, we're back. I've got my protein shake. This time it's got no almonds in it. It's all amazing, made with soya milk this time. So I'm not going to die live on stream like was going to happen yesterday. Also, very good news. Remember my card, my Scallop credit card that was linked to my crypto account and my fiat account, and that was stuck at the post office, and I asked anybody if anybody has a connection at the post office. Well, we managed to find a connection at the post office, and I finally have my card. So it's amazing. I'm going to show you guys how to use it later on in the show. If you want to get your own card, that's how they come. Absolutely amazing. We'll talk about it later in the show though. I see people are looking for me while I'm live, which is very rude. Anyway, listen, if you are new to the channel, subscribe. We are exploding in subscribers. I was watching the numbers yesterday. We, again, one of the best performing crypto channels out there. In fact, I think we are the best performing big crypto channel out there. And that's, of course, because we try and bring you the highest alpha per minute show here every single day. And today's going to be no different. We're going to talk about AI, we're going to talk about the debt ceiling, we're going to talk about which tokens are going to survive, we're going to talk about what's driving this AI narrative and whether or not this can actually spill into crypto. We're going to talk about blockchain usage being at an all-time high. It doesn't make sense that blockchain usage is at an all-time high and we're just coming out of a bear market. It still feels like we may even be a little bit in a bear market. There's still a lot of people that are not really sure whether we're in a bull or a bear market. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So yes, we're going to bring you a lot of alpha. All I want from you guys is to smash the like button. Anyway, let's get the show on the road. So let's quickly look at where we're at just quickly. Bitcoin 20, come on, just give us 28,000. James, do we have the prayer here? Do we have the prayer? Can we get the prayer going? Let's get the prayer going and maybe we can get Bitcoin over 28,000. I mean, we'll do it together. We look at the bubbles. We look at banter bubbles. It's funny how Pulse, it's like the Richard Hart coins have a good day and they have a bad day, and they have a good day and they have a bad day, and they have a good day and a bad day. Yesterday they were the biggest movers up. Then today they are the biggest movers down. Let's actually, if we just click on week. So they haven't done very well this week. In fact, the Hex, Pulse and PulseX all down 50% or so this week. Let's go back to the day. XRP up, maybe something to do with the lawsuit. Lido up. We're going to talk about Lido later. One of the narratives we're actually covering. Filecoin up. Also one of the narratives that I think we will be covering today. I am also watching Bitcoin dominance. The reason why I'm watching dominance is because a lot of people are talking that if Bitcoin dominance breaks out of this 48% level, because remember, it keeps teasing this level. And it keeps testing this level, but it doesn't actually break out. And there is a theory that this next cycle will be a Bitcoin cycle. And if it is a Bitcoin cycle this cycle, then it's logical that the Bitcoin dominance will actually break out. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a new dynamic in the Bitcoin blockchain or in the Bitcoin narrative that may actually get this to break out. And it may be good if we can get there early enough. I'm also watching this. I don't know. I feel like a cheerleader. I'm cheering that Bitcoin has its 5th straight green month. If it does, it'll be the first time in Bitcoin's history that it's had 5 straight green months starting from January. So let's all hope. James, is the prayer ready? Yeah. Can we have the prayer? Let's all pray together. Make sure this can happen. Ready? It didn't actually work. I mean, we managed to do $4. We got 27,974. Let's try it again. Can you please try it again? No. Just hold on. Listen, I know if you're sitting at home, just trust me. This thing works. We've tested it. But it only works if we all do it together, okay? It doesn't work if it's just us. So let me get back to the Bitcoin chart over here. Now, if I could ask you all to please just focus, give it everything, and let's see if we can move this price together. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, I understand. Okay, no, James was telling me that the prayer is actually a delayed prayer. It's one of those things that it takes time to travel to where it needs to get to ask the right people to do the right thing. So let's wait a little bit till the end of the show and see if it actually works. Okay, let's get to the more serious stuff. So I read this tweet from Bill Ackman about the debt ceiling crisis, and the fact that there's now going to be an agreement on the table. As we mentioned yesterday, the agreement on the table effectively says that there is no spending cap, that they can spend as much as they want, and they estimate that they'll spend over $4 trillion. But there's a time limit, and the time limit is after the elections. By 2025, that's when the spending cap increases, or the agreement lapses. Now, we did say to you guys that we thought that this was actually a trap. And the reason why it was a trap is because you've got this chart of the Treasury General Account, which is the amount of money that the Treasury has. And you can see there's only $49 billion in the Treasury account. Now, that sounds like a lot of money for you and I, but actually for the Treasury, that's like as Patrick Bet David says, it's like having $400 in your wallet if you're earning $2 million a year or something like that. Now, they need to replenish this account. And that is the problem. Now, this is a tweet from Bill Ackman. He says, worth the read. I agree on the UST issues he raises, but I don't have a view on gold. Now, what does he say? He says, the debt ceiling issues present a much greater risk than currently perceived. Although prior concerns have been proven to be mostly peripheral, today's circumstances are quite unique. To be clear, the main problem relates to potential consequences after an agreement. It says, during the periods that require a debt ceiling extension, the Treasury cash balance for daily operations tends to be at extremely low levels, which is exactly what I've just showed you, which is exactly the case again. Once an agreement is reached, the government must issue debt promptly in order to sustain its functions due to persistent fiscal deficit imbalance. However, over time, the issuance of treasuries has been increasing steadily. This time around, we anticipate an unprecedented surge in the amount of debt being raised in the ensuing months. So effectively, they're talking about getting this back to $1 trillion, which means the government has to raise $1 trillion. All else equal, this should exert major downward pressure on the price of fixed income instruments. Why? Because the government's going to go out and it's going to sell these fixed income instruments. There's going to be a big supply of these instruments, and the price of these things is going to go down. Then it says, in the past, the lack of inflation concerns and foreign investors' demands for treasuries, the absence of bank failures due to these instruments, and the Fed's ultra-dovish stance allowed markets to smoothly absorb the growing debt supply without disruptions. He's talking about now the fact that there's inflation. There is China moving away from buying US treasuries, and there are banking collapses in the US. Today, given the adverse macro environment, the emergence of a supply-side problem requires much greater attention. It cannot be overstated that the US Treasury market serves as the cornerstone of the entire financial system. Why? Because all countries hold US Treasuries. Not all, but a lot of countries. The inflated valuation of financial assets hinges on the low cost of capital environment. It is worth noting positive developments. Anyway, he keeps going through this, and he says that essentially there's going to be a lack of demand for people to buy these treasuries, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on the market, and it's going to suck up a lot of liquidity in the market. And he actually ends it off by saying, in our strong opinion, the US is primed to have its Bank of BOE moment, which is the Bank of England moment. Given the dire level of global debt, foreign central banks are compelled to prioritize enhancing the quality of their international reserves to support their monetary systems. In essence, these institutions function similar to traditional businesses, banks, and their balance sheet needs to establish financial stability. Now, can you hold these assets and still tell your country that your assets are financially stable? And that's the question that he's asking. Anyway, long story short, I think what he says here, he says, following the end of the gold standard, central banks continued to purchase gold for the next decade. At its peak, gold holdings constituted 72% of their overall balance sheet. Subsequently, due to a prolonged period of increase in interest rates, central banks opted to accumulate US debt at a historically attractive valuation. And now, he says this expansion is going to fall over. And that's what he's worried about. So he's worried that there won't actually be as many buyers for these treasuries. And so that is exactly what we've been worried about. So I think that is what happened last time when a debt ceiling was reached. 5 days after the debt ceiling agreement, the market puked 17%. Let's hope it doesn't happen this time. We are keeping our eyes on that. We're also keeping our eyes on the probability of a 25 basis point rate hike, because remember, all these things can affect us here in crypto land. And we see that there's now a 60% chance of a 50 basis point rate hike. So we've got to keep our eye on the macro, be cognizant of it, while focusing on our little niche, which is of course crypto. So let's go into crypto. Let's start talking about the crypto market. And I want to start talking about the crypto market slightly differently today. So I think we need to look at it slightly differently. And I think to start off, what I want to do is I actually want to look at a stock. And the stock is actually Nvidia. Now, what you can see here is that Nvidia is having a cracker of a day. You see Nvidia is trading at $408, and the market cap of Nvidia has just hit $1 trillion. So Nvidia is now the latest company to be a $1 trillion company in terms of valuation, which is amazing. But the more amazing part is that if you look at how quickly Nvidia has actually grown. So let's go back and take this chart. You can see that Nvidia has done a 3x since its lows in October. But just generally, if you go back and you look at how fast Nvidia has grown, it has been one of the biggest, if you want to call it, success stories in the market. And in fact, if I look at Nvidia now, and this is not really updated because I think it's pulling from yesterday's market cap. Oh no, it's pulling from today's one. It is now the 5th biggest company in the world, behind Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Apple. Now, if you look at the top 3 companies, they all have something in common. And what they have in common is that they're all effectively dabbling in the AI narrative. Amazon also probably in the AI narrative, but not as much as Nvidia. And so what you see that there's a massive move towards AI in the real world. And I think that you'll agree that the difference that we've seen in AI and the growth in AI has been remarkable. In fact, we haven't seen any technology grow as fast as we've seen AI technology all of a sudden grow. And the reason why I say all of a sudden grow is because AI hasn't started to grow all of a sudden. AI has been in development for a long time, but it's just had its aha moment. It's had its big moment. And now we are seeing the rate at which AI can actually change the world. And I want to show you something which I'm sure a lot of us have seen, but it's probably worth looking at again. This just shows you the speed to get to 1 million users. Okay, how long does it take apps or technologies to get to 1 million users? So it starts off with Netflix in 1999. It took it 3.5 years. Kickstarter, 2.5 years. Airbnb, 2.5 years. Twitter took it 2 years. Foursquare, Facebook, Dropbox. And then you can see that it took ChatGPT just 5 days from its launch to get to 1 million users. Ferdy, can you send me this for 100 million users? Let's go see how long it took for companies to get to 100 million users. But what you're seeing is you're seeing AI develop. And because AI has AI, the rate of development of AI is much quicker than any technology that we've ever seen. And I think I saw a tweet earlier on from Elon where I want to see if I got this. Here we go. So I saw this tweet from Elon earlier. And this tweet just says, he says, honey, what's wrong? Honey, tell me what's wrong. He says 2006 is as far away as 2040, but not in AI land. That's the problem, because in AI land, it actually grows much quicker. And the reason why Nvidia is leading is because Nvidia keeps coming out with these amazing announcements, and they've almost positioned themselves as the most prominent company when it comes to AI. So I want you to listen to these announcements, because I'm going to get to the crypto angle here. But if you don't understand how AI is affecting the real world, you're not going to understand which crypto tokens are actually going to move. And I see Diamond literally says AI is pretty scary. It is pretty scary. And that's why the smartest minds in the world are actually warning about AI. They're actually warning about AI. And to be honest, whereas I'm always very excited about new technologies, one technology that I am really scared of is AI, because when you realize how smart AI is becoming because of itself, because you'll hear that the CEO of Nvidia, when he references this in his speech, he says, now we have computer engineers training computers, but we also have computers training computers. And when you've got computer engineers and users and computers training computers, that's a very scary combination. So just listen to why this company has become probably the best AI company in the world.
Today we're announcing NVIDIA ACE Avatar Cloud Engine that is designed for animating to bringing a digital avatar to life. It has several characteristics, several capabilities: speech recognition, text-to-speech, natural language understanding, basically a large language model, and using the sound that you will be generating with your voice, animate the face. 15,000 startup companies in the world built on NVIDIA today, building on NVIDIA today, and 40,000 large companies, enterprises around the world are using accelerated computing. We have now reached the tipping point of a new computing era. So every 2 years, we take giant leaps forward, and I'm expecting the next leap to be giant as well. This is the new computer industry. Software is no longer programmed just by computer engineers. Software is programmed by computer engineers working with AI supercomputers. That's
the key part, where it says software is now getting smarter because it's worked on with computer engineers and with other computers.
Supercomputers are a new type of factory. In the future, every single major company will also have AI factories, and you will build and produce your company's intelligence.
Okay, so you heard that. I do want to show you another demo of what he did using AI, and he did this live.
How come?
Everything is real time.
This is real time, and he's speaking to an AI generated avatar. Now just imagine what this does for any type of shopping, any type of customer assistance, any type of role really.
Hey Jen, how are you?
Unfortunately, not so good.
How come?
I am worried about the crime around here. It's gotten bad lately. My ramen shop got caught in the crossfire.
Can I help?
If you want to do something about this, I have heard rumors that the powerful crime lord 𝗂𝗏𝗏 𝗂𝗃 is causing all sorts of chaos in the city. He may be the root of this violence.
I'll talk to him. Where can I find him?
I have heard he hangs out in the underground fight clubs on the city's east side. Try there.
Okay, I'll go.
Be careful, Kai.
None of that conversation was scripted. We gave this Jin AI character a backstory, his story about his ramen shop and the story of this game. All you have to do is go up and talk to this character. And because this character has been infused with artificial intelligence and large language models, it can interact with you, understand your meaning in a really reasonable way. All of the facial animation completely done by the AI. We have made it possible for all kinds of characters to be generated. They have their own domain knowledge. You can customize it, so everybody's game's different. Look how wonderfully beautiful they are and natural they are. This is the future of video games. Not only will AI contribute to the rendering and the synthesis of the environment, AI will also animate the characters.
So, I mean, it just shows, just imagine the application there in terms of video games, imagine that the application there in terms of call center agents, and just imagine the applications there with whatever it is. And this is why Nvidia has become this $1 trillion market cap company. Actually, it did it exactly today while we were on the stream. For the first time ever, Nvidia has gone over a $1 trillion market cap. But why is the market so bullish on Nvidia? And when I say that, look at the rest of the market, okay? Look at the rest of the AI plays in the market. So you look at Nvidia relative to Microsoft, to Apple, to Google, and to all AMD and all the other ones. Why has Nvidia actually been the best performer out there? Well, one thing is that they said that they had reinvented computers, but for me, more importantly, it's this tweet over here which says, in a gold rush, sell the shovels. Nvidia's GPUs could be the most lucrative shovel ever. And that is effectively what this whole narrative is about. In order to get AI to work, in order for all these data models to work, you need computing power. You need the models to be trained. You need the data to go somewhere, to be processed, and to become and to be turned into what we call artificial intelligence. You need processing power. And the processing power in this case is GPUs. Okay, so without the computers, without the processing power, you've got zero chance of actually processing all this data. Now, if you think about the growth rate of AI, and you think about how artificial intelligence is going to grow between now, where we are today, here, and where we're going to be in just 7 years. It's going to be the fastest growth in technology we've ever seen. In fact, I don't think that most of us can actually fathom the speed at which AI is going to grow. If you think about how quickly ChatGPT and Bard have infiltrated our lives and the use cases, and you compare this to other technologies, I'm sure you'll agree with me that it's happened much quicker and much bigger and with much more disruption than any other technology in history. I think that we're not going to be able to fathom the rate of growth of AI. And so, as I said to you, the biggest issue here with AI currently is the fact that there is a GPU shortage. They just don't have enough computer chips. They just don't have enough GPUs to be able to accommodate the AI demand. I've been listening to a lot of videos around what it takes and who can actually build these chips. And the big takeout that I got was, we don't have enough chips. We don't have enough GPU power to cope with the AI boom that we're about to have, given the growth that AI is predicted to have and the speed at which we're going to have this growth. You can see that again, OpenAI CEO warns that GPU crisis jeopardizes the future of LLMs. So here we go. We've got today's LLM require extensive GPU computational resources. As nations strive towards building sovereign AI computing power, the demands for NVIDIA GPUs will only increase. Scarcity will be one of the leading drivers for innovation in the search for more computationally efficient LLMs and neural networks. Basically, he's saying we need more GPU power. So that is the big narrative around AI. And that is why NVIDIA has actually become one of the fastest growing AI companies in the world. And so I was looking at like investors that had invested in AI. And while I was researching this, one thing that I found this piece on Stan Druckenmiller. He bought AI stocks before anyone was talking about, before AI was talking about it. This is his portfolio. You can see what he had. He had Nvidia, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, TSM, Meta, and AMD. Again, all chip manufacturers. But the more incredible thing here is, so here are the returns that he has got this far from investing in it. Okay, now in crypto language, maybe these aren't the biggest returns, but you're talking about one of the biggest hedge fund managers in the world. And in fact, even more impressive than that, he says, he managed 7 funds at once and returned 30% for 30 years. I mean, I think that there hasn't been an investor like this. I don't even know if there's ever been an investor as successful as him. And he's taken a bet on AI. He was one of the early guys to take a bet in AI. And this is the returns that he actually generated out of that bet in AI. Now, on the counter to that, we have Cathie Wood from ARK. Now, listen to this. You make up your own mind here.
You were in Nvidia before it was cool. You were buying it at $4 back in 2014. You rode the wave on this particular stock, Cathie, to 330 back in 2021. But the recent rally, you've missed because the flagship ARK Innovation ETF, you sold out of your main stake back in January. Why?
Yes. So if you... we're very positive on NVIDIA. We have been very positive on NVIDIA. We bought it down when it hit nearly $100 in the fourth quarter last year. And then it tripled as some of our other AI-oriented stocks stood still. So, we're looking at, believe it or not, many people do not believe this about us. We're looking at relative valuations of names in the AI space. And we were looking at NVIDIA at 25 times sales, which is where it is. And Tesla, which is probably the biggest AI story out there, is at 6 times earnings. UiPath yesterday.
Okay, so what do you do? What do you say? Do you say that she's right? She sold, she missed the whole run, but she put her money into Tesla. I guess probably time will tell. If I look at her chart, unfortunately, her chart is not looking as good as Stan Druckenmiller's chart. Her share is, a little bit above where it was at COVID levels. So I don't think it's such a great success story. Anyway, let's go back to the main narrative here. As I said to you, I think that there's going to be a huge demand for GPU power. I think one of the biggest constraints that we're going to have is we're going to have a constraint for GPU power. And I think that what we need is we need to look at whether or not this narrative is actually going to spill into crypto. Because I think that there's a lot of froth and a lot of heat when it comes to AI in crypto. And we've seen a lot of bull runs. But the question is, if you're an investor and you want to hold these things long term, is there any narrative that is actually worth holding long term? Now, I looked at the AI index, and I think you can look at it here. Just click on that. And you can look at all the different ones: Render, SingularityNet, Fetch.ai, Ocean Protocol, Akash. By the way, we are investors in Akash. We are investors in Render. We are investors we are investors in Alethea.ai. But I do believe that a lot of these tokens, in fact, I believe most of these tokens are going to go to zero, are going to die. And I think that there are probably 2 or 3 crypto tokens that have got any kind of chance of success, of real success when it comes to AI. And that's what I want to speak to you about today. And the first token that I want to speak about is one that I am invested in, as you know, and one that we do talk about on the show a lot. And it comes after this tweet around the requirement for the picks and shovels, which are the GPUs. Because regardless of what the AI application is, every single application will need GPU power to process it. There's going to be a shortage of GPU power. We're also going to need as much GPU power as we can possibly get. Now, who does this GPU power? Well, one of the tokens that actually does this GPU power is Render. And I think we need to talk about Render. Now, I don't like these tweets that, I saw this, which is like, what if Render had the same market cap of Nvidia? Oh, well, I have to do 1,000x. Bullshit. Let's close this because this is garbage. Because Render is not the manufacturer of chips. All Render does is Render takes all GPU chips or GPU chips that are not currently being used. And what it does is it allows people everywhere to utilize these GPUs in a decentralized fashion. So if you've got a GPU and I've got a GPU and James has a GPU and Ferdy has a GPU, what Render does is it allows us all to donate or to connect to the network and allow for this GPU power to actually be used. And now I think when I look at that, I say, hold on a second. This is potentially a token that can work. Why? Because it has a real life use case and a real life narrative. It's also been very, very, very quick to capitalize on what all the different use cases. So remember that a year ago or a year and a half ago, I said, who's going to render the metaverse? And then, well, Render's going to render the metaverse. Or we said Render was going to render the metaverse. Now you're talking about, Jensen Huang, who is the CEO of Nvidia, said, agile companies will take advantage of AI and boost their position. Companies less so will perish. I agree. And this guy says Render literally released a whole new white paper with a clear plan to take advantage of AI in multiple ways. And there is a copy of this white paper over here. You can go and read it. I don't recommend you do. White papers are always very, very, very boring. The next question is whether AI and crypto actually will work at all. Because a lot of people say that maybe AI and crypto will never actually work together. But I disagree. I think that AI and crypto actually make a perfect combination for a whole host of different reasons. I mean, this is one of the reasons. Someone says, I spent a lot of time from AI engineers and CEOs. I think AI may be a catalyst for crypto in the cycle. I think AI is likely going to create large new demands for cryptography and blockchains, the two dimensions, notarizing authenticity in amidst the explosion of creation where you don't know what's real. So you want to know what's real? Well, it will be confirmed on the blockchain. And then remember that AI agents, which are two machines, are two machines that are now talking to each other. And how do two machines negotiate and make sure that the one machine actually pays the other machine? I always use the example of two cars driving behind each other. If I'm driving behind you and I'm in a rush to get to the airport and you're not in such a rush, I'm going to ask you to move over, and then I'm going to overtake you, and then you're going to move back into the lane so that I can get to the airport faster than you can get to the airport. But there has to be a transfer of value at that point. Now, how do these two AI vehicles or these two driverless vehicles communicate? Well, they'll communicate via AI. And then there's going to have to be a transfer of money for letting me overtake. I'm just using this as an example. How's that going to happen? Well, that has to happen through some sort of cryptocurrency. And then lastly, where this guy hasn't really spoken about it, is the data that we provide AI models. Because every time that you use ChatGPT or you use Bard, or every time it uses your data, it becomes more valuable and you're not seeing any of that data or that value. Now, using crypto, we can actually get rewarded for interacting with these things and using the data. And so I think that there is a logical connection between crypto and AI. And I think it's going to come out more and more and more as time goes by. But I don't think that all the tokens are going to survive. I think the ones that are going to survive are the ones that are infrastructure plays, the picks and shovels. And I think that right now, when I look at the market, you probably want to look at Render. You may want to look at some other ones, maybe some smaller ones. Maybe Akash is maybe one to look at. But you want to look at the GPU power. Where can I get a whole lot of GPU power and utilize GPU power? Because we know that GPU power is going to become scarce. That's the first thing. The next thing that you need to look at when it comes to AI is you need to understand where are people going to use AI and how are people going to use AI. Now, I don't know about you, but this is where I'm going to use my AI. This place is where I'm going to use my AI. And so if we're going to get a blockchain that is going to be the AI blockchain, I would imagine that the AI blockchain is going to be the best the best blockchain on your phone, right? And it's also got to be coded in a language which is good for AI. Okay, so you want to ask the question, and actually yesterday someone did ask the question. Let me quickly find it. Okay, so it didn't ask a question. He actually someone said, AGI will be built with Python. Let that sink in. Who is this guy? His name is 𝗪𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠𝗠 He's a machine learning at Nvidia. Let's follow him actually. Now, I mean, wow, how's that? He's a physicist, he's a data scientist. He's a Catholic also. He's a husband, he's a father, he's from Stanford. Okay. Elon replied, Rust. So it looks like what we're looking for is we're looking for a blockchain that is coded in Rust, if we believe Elon's narrative here. Okay, maybe Rust is the language. So why would Rust be the language? Because Rust is a very fast and memory efficient language with no runtime or garbage collector. It can perform performance critical services, run on embedded devices, and easily integrate with other languages. Okay, it's reliable and it has greater documentation, etc., etc. So Rust could be one of the front runners in blockchain development, specifically around AI. Now, what is today the biggest blockchain developed with Rust? Of course, it's Solana. So you've got Solana, which is, in my opinion, the best blockchain when it comes to mobile phones. And that's because 𝗦𝗣𝗕𝗏, who was the founder of Solana, one of the founders of Solana, his background is in mobile phones. They also launched the phone. They launched their own decentralized dApp store. And they are also built with Rust. So logically, I'd say, okay, hold on a second. If we're going to have a blockchain that is going to capitalize on all the AI applications, what is this blockchain going to be? Is it going to be Ethereum? Maybe, but too expensive. And for AI, you need a lot of computation to happen really, really, really fast and really, really, really cheap. Ethereum is not going to do that. So which one is it going to be? It could be Cosmos, maybe. But if you want something written in Rust and you believe this Elon tweet, now I'm not saying that Elon's right here, because you see that there's a different opinion here. Someone says it will be built in Python, but he says Rust. And right now, as far as I'm aware, the most used Rust blockchain, in fact, not as far as I'm aware, the most used Rust blockchain is actually Solana. Not only that, Solana recently developed a ChatGPT plugin. Now, again, I think this is a little bit gimmicky, but it just shows that they are thinking around AI and that it is becoming a little bit of an AI thing. The previous token that I spoke about, which was Render, you'll remember, actually moved to Solana. So there was a vote. We actually voted. The community voted to move Render to Solana, to migrate Render to Solana. So you've now got the two plays kind of in one place. Also, when I looked at the numbers around Solana and I looked at the metrics around Solana, I'll quickly log in so we can look at it. This is a token that has actually survived a bear market. And not only has it survived a bear market, but actually its transactions, I see there is the electricity going to go out? It's back. Okay, amazing. The electricity went out. So if we look at the transactions on Solana, actually the daily transactions on Solana now are higher than they were in the previous. Let's actually go back and let's see if we can get, oh man, I'm not logged in with, let's see, maybe I'm logged in with this computer now. Hold on a second. Let's see if I can log in with, okay, I'm not logged in with this computer now. But what you will notice if you go back and look at Solana's metrics is that Solana's total transactions are higher now than they were before the FTX collapse. And that is, I think, what you got to look at. You got to look at protocols, and specifically this protocol, which have been through hell, which have been through the worst of the worst, and have come out holding on to developers and holding on to their transactions. And then you got to almost say to yourself, those are the blockchains which are actually going to lead the 2023, 2024, 2025 bull markets, because we are going to go into the 2023, 2024, 2025 bull market. Question is, which tokens are going to lead that bull market? I think that the AI tokens may be one of them. I think Solana's got a very, very, very good chance, purely because of what I've said to you. It's probably the best blockchain when it comes to a phone. It's probably a good player when it comes to AI by virtue of its language. It's cheap, it's fast. And so I feel that Solana may actually have a chance. But it's not the only one, because there are many, many, many others that are actually showing exactly the same thing. And I think what we need to identify is that, look, we've been through a very, very, very bad bear market. I don't know about you, but sometimes I look back and I go, when I realize what we've actually been through in the last bear market, I think to myself, how the hell did we survive that? And how the hell are we still here? But we're here and we made it. And actually, we're not the only ones that are here and have made it. If we look at the technology, which is why we are here, someone says that daily active users interacting with the blockchain will likely end May at its highest level in history. So what are we saying here? We're saying that not only are we here and we survived the bear market, but actually if you really are in it for the tech and you really are in it for the long term and the difference that this technology is going to make, what you got to realize is that actually, forget about the prices, forget about the fact that we've had a bear market and a bull market and people are talking about different cycles. Forget about the fact that we're still in a drawdown of, 60%. look at the fundamental that matters. And the fundamental that matters is that blockchain users are now at their all-time high. Solana users are at their all-time high. Blockchain users are at their all-time high. Render users are at their all-time high. Question is, which other tokens are performing really, really, really well with number of users at their all-time high, even though we're coming out of the bear market? Because I think if we look at that and we look at the number of users coming out of the bear market and we look at number of users that are protocols that are overperforming now, even in the midst of having been through the worst bear market ever, that may give us a clue as to the tokens that are going to lead the next bull market. It could be Render, it could be Solana in terms of users. It could actually even be Ethereum. Why? Because Ethereum's changed the game now with ETH staking, right? We see that ETH staking has really, really, really changed the game. Okay? Really, really, really changed the game. You've now got yield on Ethereum. You've got people waiting in lines to stake Ethereum. Okay? That is something that says to you, in the bull market, Ethereum is going to be there, and Ethereum is really going to lead because people are taking their money out of Ethereum, out of the exchanges, and they're putting the money onto these liquid staking derivatives and into the ETH narrative. So you can't write off the ETH narrative. And you can't write off the liquid staking protocols. Why? Because if the second biggest protocol in the world is going to give us yield for staking, then the banks or the places where you stake and be able to get a derivative of your token. I mean, for those of you who don't know how it works, what you do is you stake your token, your ETH, and either you stake it yourself, in which case you just stake it and then you get the yield, or what you can do is you can go to what they call a liquid staking protocol, like Lido, like Rocket Pool, like Frax, and you can stake your ETH, and in return they give you a token called STETH, which is staked ETH. It means, hey, because I'm holding this token, you know that I have 1 ETH staked in Lido. That's basically how a stake token works. Now, one of the biggest industries that I think is going to emerge, and one that has emerged as the biggest industry by TVL in the whole of DeFi, in fact, bigger than DEXs, bigger than lending, bigger than anything, is liquid staking. And what people are doing is they're staking their ETH, and then what they're doing is they're taking their staked ETH and they are looking for yield on their stake ETH. Where are they getting the yield? Well, they're getting yield on putting it in liquidity pools. They're getting yield on staking their staked ETH and borrowing against it, and on places like Aave. We told you we were investors in a protocol called Tenet, which is, you can almost say, a new experiment. What they do is they allow you to take your staked ETH and use that staked ETH to validate transactions on their network. There's going to be a lot of these applications. There's a lot of these applications that are coming out. And what I want you to see is I want you to see the narratives that weren't big or that are bigger now coming out of the bear market than they were in the previous bull market. And liquid staking derivatives is one of them. It's exploded. Another one that's absolutely exploded is layer 2s on Ethereum. If you believe in a layer 2, if you believe in a layer 1 world, right now my bet lives on Solana. If you believe in a layer 1 plus lots of layer 2 worlds, my bet probably is on Ethereum with all the different layer 2s. And that, what you can see is you can see the growth in all the different layer 2s on Ethereum. And so again, take your bets, because these guys are performing better in this market than they were in the previous market. Okay, there's a lot of these. Here, look at Arbitrum. Look at the unique addresses on Arbitrum. Now, obviously a lot of this was around the airdrop hunting, but Arbitrum is still being used every single day. The transactions on Arbitrum still increasing every single day. Another category, which I really want to speak about, one that wasn't around in the previous bull market, is Ordinals. Now, here's something that I want you to think about, because so up until now we've had 10,199,484 inscriptions. Okay, what does that actually mean? What does that mean? What does it mean that we had 10,199,000? It means that 10 million Satoshis have been inscribed with a unique inscription, making them unique. Okay, so what does that actually mean? It means there are 21 million Bitcoin, Each one of those Bitcoin has 100 million Satoshis. Okay, so just think about it like this. There are 21 million Bitcoin, and each Bitcoin has 100 million Satoshis. To date, we have inscribed 10 million Satoshis, so about 1/10 of a Bitcoin. We've just started and we've inscribed 1/10 of a Bitcoin. What does that mean for Bitcoin? Well, think about mass usage on Bitcoin. And think about the fact that every time that you inscribe a Satoshi, every time that you use a Satoshi for this new use case of inscriptions, now inscriptions just means that you take that specific Satoshi and you create something unique out of it. You put a picture on it, you put a will, a last testament, you put a copyright document on it. That is what you call inscriptions. And once you have inscribed a Satoshi, once you've put an inscription on a Satoshi, that Satoshi is no longer in free flow. So let me give you an example of how this works. Imagine that there's $10 in circulation and there's 10 people in a room. And then I take 2 of those $10 and I put a piece of art on 2 of those $10. Now I've got $2 with art and $8 that are money, which means that the money becomes more scarce and the art goes into a different bucket, which is not actually money because it has a lot more value than money. Now imagine what happens when we do this. Imagine what happens when we do this on scale, en masse, when all of a sudden we start using Satoshis not as money. We start using dollar bills, but limited dollar bills, not as money. We start using them for art. We start creating more of a scarcity in an asset that already is very, very, very scarce. And so I think this is another narrative which we need to look out for in the next bull market. And there are a lot of them. You can just keep looking for the narratives and the tokens that have more users now than they did in the bull market. Here's another one. Here we go. Another one. Stargate. Cross-chain messaging and protocols. Cross-chain. I think one of the biggest applications. Look at the number of cumulative daily users versus where they were in the bull market. They were nowhere in the bull market. Look at them today. And so that's what I'm saying. I think if you believe that we're going into a 2023, 2024, 2025 bull market, which people are telling me while I'm talking, the markets are going down, terrible. If you believe that we're going to go into this bull market, then you need to start looking for the applications that are growing in users and usage, not in price, but in users and usage, to be bigger than they were in the previous bull market. And so if you look at it and you compare it to this chart over here and you say, maybe the prices aren't as high as they were. Maybe. In fact, we know for sure that the prices are not as high as they were. Let's just go back and just go to total market cap. Okay, so here's total market cap. And we go and we zoom out. Prices aren't where they were. No ways, not even close. Look at that. Looks like a very, very, very bad chart. But then when you look at the chart that actually matters, and you say, let's look at the daily active users on these blockchains, on this technology that we are betting on, okay? We've seen that the daily active users are now at all-time high. In a market that is certainly not at an all-time high. And so what's the play here? The play here is to take bets on the protocols that you think are going to lead the next bull market. Told you what I think that they're going to be. I've told you that if there is going to be an AI narrative, I think that the AI narrative is only going to be limited to a very small number of tokens. And if right now I was putting real bets on AI, and I don't mean small bets, for me, and I may be right, I may be wrong, I would look at GPUs, the shovels. I would look at a blockchain that can integrate into a phone that is probably going to be the AI blockchain. I don't know who that's going to be. Could be one of many, but I've put my bet on Solana, and you know that I've put my bet on Solana. Let me know what you think in the comments. Also, let me know if you like this kind of show, because it's been a lot more alpha-filled, a lot more research done in the show, a lot more theory, and a lot less degenning. Let me know what you think of the show. Smash the like button if you enjoyed it. I do want to just, I want to give my friend Marcus a big high five, and I want to give Scallop a big high five. Marcus helped me get this out of the post office. Marcus, you know who you are. I don't want to say your surname because then everyone will phone you for post office queries. But I do have my Scallop card. Why do I like the Scallop card? because what it does is it allows me to spend my crypto and my fiat from one regulated account. So basically, it's a regulated bank that allows me to. Okay, good. Big news. So it allows me to spend my fiat and my crypto. Listen, if you want one of these cards, there's no annual fees, there's no hidden costs. It comes very cool, like, very cool. So you're not going to get this card yet. You have to earn your way up. You're first going to get this card, the blue. Then you're going to, one day when you become a titan of industry, then you get one of these cards. You have to be a titan of industry. It's only me and James that have got these cards at the moment. The two titans, yeah. Yeah, so just there's a link below. Sign up, go get it, go check it out. It says here for every EU citizen it's available by. You can download the Scallop app, it says here as well. So go and download the Scallop app. Amazing, just do it. Then also I want to make a big announcement. So let's stop the music first. So have leaked it before, but I think we should formally tell you guys that we have started a partnership with Mario Norful and 𝗧𝗪𝗜𝗀. It's the biggest crypto spaces partnership I think ever that has ever been announced. We have partnered up to bring you guys daily, every single day, crypto love and crypto wisdom. James, are you sick, bro? James is sick today. Crypto love and crypto wisdom every single day after my show. So every single day, just after my show, myself, Mario Norful, and 𝗧𝗪𝗜𝗀 are going to be live on Twitter Spaces, bringing you daily crypto love, wisdom. I've seen the lineup of guests. It's been it's absolutely mind-blowing and amazing. So see you guys tomorrow live on Twitter Spaces, and see you guys again tomorrow here. And just before we go, let's just take a look at the banter bubbles. What are the people in Pulse and Hex actually saying? I actually have to see what's going on here. They've been quiet. Well, jump into the bubbles and let us know why Hex is moving up and down, because I haven't been following today, to be honest. Let's see, maybe Pulse, maybe they're talking. Jump in, come and give us some love at the banter bubbles. Remember, use your Twitter handle to log in. Yeah, use your Twitter handle. You log in using your Twitter handle, so we don't actually keep your data. You can then also tweet, and also there's a very cool feature here, which if you do some cool stuff in the bubbles, then people can follow you directly on Twitter just by clicking here, and they can just follow you directly on Twitter. You see, so I can follow this Andrew guy on Twitter. Bang! Now I'm following him on Twitter, which is amazing. You see, so yeah, that is banter bubbles. We need you guys to make it a huge success. There is an iOS app and there is a Google app, and I guess someone says, when Gary Gensler Richard Hart lawsuit? Hope not. Hope not. Yeah. Okay. Listen, one last time before we go. But last time. Oh, wait, hold on. The ByBit competition ends tomorrow. We have 1,908 participants. You can still get in, but I don't think you can win it now. I'm coming 1,174. I deserve whatever I got. The David, who we met in Miami, is still coming first, and the guy second. I wonder if this second guy is going to go all in, or if he's happy just winning a Rolex. I wonder. I really wonder what's going to happen here. All right, listen, before we go, for the last time, let's get the Bitcoin chart up. Let's all do this in unison. 27,853. Ready? I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends.
三风王咱们南要开府，别府俺家将近，一阵狂风么三个浪，雪高还这么深，三呀湾。